we have an intro video. It's not just my ugly mug. Speaking of mugs, I'll get to that one in a second. I'm calling it Boebert Gate or Boebert Gate. Enjoy today's intro.
Julian is a mermaid found in DODEA elementary school libraries, describes a boy who wants to become a mermaid. During the book, the boy repeatedly strips down to his underwear. Later, he puts on lipstick and dons a headdress.
Inappropriate for children. I think most people can agree with that. They're contrasting it to the infrared video from within this theater playing Beetlejuice. Why does a theater have infrared night vision goggles? I don't know. I'm not asking questions, but they think they've got the gotcha on the hypocrisy. But let's just play this out.
He is then given a costume jewelry before being taken to the NYC Mermaid Parade, where he can freely express himself.
For those who are listening on podcast at Viva Barnes Law for the People on Podbean, whoever is going out with Lauren Boebert is touching her boobie by the look of it in a movie theater, a crowded movie theater. In the dark of the crowded movie theater, her date, I don't know if it's her husband, I don't think it's her husband, is touching her boobie. Won't someone think of the children and they think they've got the gotcha of hypocrisy? The left can't meme. The left can't humor because they lack insight and they lack introspection. They think this is the biggest gotcha ever. I'm going to explain to them why they are fools. But let's just let this play out. I just have to narrate it for the podcast.
Here's the bottom line. Let's stop grooming our children.
Apparently, the dude's touching her boob again, for those who are listening. Stop grooming our children. They think it's a big gotcha that someone on a date had her date touch her boob in a dark movie theater.
Including our military kids.
Touch her boob? That's assault, brother. That's Billy Madison. Okay, hold on. I'm going to let this finish here.
It's gross. It is wrong. I'm here to take a stand against it. And I urge my colleagues to pass my amendment to protect our military children from obscene content they should not be exposed to.
For those who are listening, the dude's really massaging it. Maybe, I don't know, I don't want to be so judgmental. Maybe he's looking, he's doing a breast exam. He's looking for lumps. I've got to tell you, people, anybody who thinks that that's a gotcha and that Lauren Boebert has somehow disqualified herself from her positions on what many people perceive to be, and I'll say rightly so, the grooming of children. Anybody who thinks that that is a gotcha, you're idiots, period, full stop. That might be inappropriate. It might be a little bit lewd, lascivious, maybe. It is two grown adults on a date, and she was apparently touching his legs, but maybe she's looking for lumps in his upper thigh. I have no idea. It's two adults, consenting adults, in a relationship. What I believe is probably a monogamous relationship, catching feels in a dark movie theater. I got to tell you something. Like when I was a 14-year-old kid on a date and you try to reach over and put your arm around your date in a movie theater. In a dark movie theater, it is not lewd and lascivious. Why they have night vision goggles, I don't know either. But they're in public. They don't really have an expectation of privacy. People think that this is a gotcha. You have some idiot lefty liars on the interwebs saying that they were in a crowded theater full of children, doing this in front of children. It was, from what I can tell, by the way, a 7:30 showing of Beetlejuice in Denver. 7:30. The show is 2.5 hours long, which means 7:30, 8:30, 9:30, 10. That show would be ending at 10 o'clock on a Sunday night, a school night for parents out there. That wasn't a kids' show. They weren't at a library, a public library in front of kids, twerking and asking kids to stick dollar bills down there. They were at an evening show, not in a theater of children. And by the way, for those of you who don't know, the showing of Beetlejuice, where was it? I had to go get just to show you the homework that I do, just to make sure that I know what I'm talking about. Denver Center Performing Arts. By the way, if this is not the right theater and they're not the right show, please someone tell me. Learn more. Type of Broadway? Type Broadway musical. I'm down on the right-hand side here, people. Intermission? Yes. A very long evening show that is not for children. Advisory. Contains strong language, mature references, and a lot of the crazy, inappropriate stuff you would expect from a deranged demon. Strobe lights, pyrotechnics, effects, fire, theatrical smoke, haze, electronic cigarettes. Oh, and electronic cigarettes are used during the performance. I just want to make sure we're looking at the right thing here. This was not a kids show of Beetlejuice. This was not what's that guy who did all the animated series things. I don't want to rely on the chat to get the information for me. It has the word Borton. What's the guy's name? Chat, I need your help. He did all of the animation thing. He did Big Fish. Oh, this is going to drive me crazy until the chat refreshes and gives me his name. It has Orton in it, right? The name has... Well, until we get the name in the chat. This is at an evening show of a show that is not for kids. Tim Burton, thank you very much. Oh, gosh, there we go. Orton, yeah. It's... This is, I say it's a nothing burger. It's inappropriate. She shouldn't have been vaping, although it's very interesting that she gets faulted for vaping in the crowd, while... The show itself has vaping in it. Oh, my goodness. I've got to pull this one up. I wasn't sure that I was going to bring this one up, but I'm going to bring it up right now. Do you remember the guy that I got mad at last week? Tristan Snell, who said 9/11 was a terrorist attack. January 6th was a terrorist attack. And I called him an effing idiot and a wild piece of shizzle to the tizzle. I've got to find his tweet on this. Vaping. He said, vaping can cause miscarriages and can kill a child. I've got to find this because it will blow your mind. The guy who compared, here it is. The guy who compared 9/11 to January 6th in all his callous, immoral, inhumane stupidity, had this to say about Lauren Boebert's reckless disregard for the allegedly pregnant woman behind her. Is this it? Here we go. Lauren Boebert vaped next to a pregnant woman and refused to stop. First of all, she took one puff, and that's the last we saw of the vaping. Vaped in front of... first of all, she was in front of her, if it changes anything, Tristan Snell. God, I don't even know who this person is. She refused to stop. That's part of the reason why she was kicked out of the movie theater. Vaping around a pregnant woman can cause the death of the fetus or cause them to be stillborn. Oh, yeah. No, I'm sure, Tristan, the same jackass buffoon who compared 9/11 to January 6th, thinks that a puff of vape in an open theater, if that were the case, well, first of all, you got to have a problem with a couple of other things there, Tristan Snell. Who is he? Tristan Snell is a lawyer, fighter for democracy, advocate and investor, prosecuted Trump University at New York Attorney General, commentator, MSNBC. Now I know what a NAFO is, by the way. That's North American Fella Organization. Oh, yeah, no, he's vaping around a child can cause a death of the stillborn. And I know there's a bunch of hypocrisy jokes that people are going to make for a political party that wants to talk about late-term schmortions. And I was also going to bring that one up, X off the grid. Is it the best? I hate using the word the best. Look, it's obviously juvenile. She should not be vaping, catching feels. Have I ever grabbed my wife's booty in public? You damn right I have. Has she ever touched my groin? No, I don't want people knowing that how small it is. Bada bing, bada boom. Yeah, I've grabbed my wife's butt in public. Has it embarrassed her? Yeah, probably. And I do it not necessarily, I have done it, not necessarily in the darkness of a movie theater because I hate plays and I hate musicals. This is a nothing burger. And I dare say this, Lauren Boebert is up for re-election. This is going to help her in the same way that idiotic video of AOC dancing on the roof helped her in as much as it did. It's going to humanize her. I think it makes her look a little childish, a little immature, but big freaking deal. When you compare that to the alternatives of what's going on out there in D.C., that is not only the lesser of the evils, that might even be a plus. Have a little immaturity, a little irreverence, have a little youthful touchy-feely in D.C., as opposed to the old, stagnant, repulsive corruption that has infiltrated D.C. Okay, that was my intro. Hashtag BoebertGate. Oh. Viva, she did grab his groin and continued fondling him. Okay, big freaking deal. I know that I say, look, I was going to analogize it to, it's lewd behavior. And just because it's behind the darkness of a movie theater, like Pee Wee Herman can't use that as a defense when he got busted for hubba hubba. Oh, you kids in a movie theater. That was a porno theater. And that is still next level lewd and lascivious. It's mildly inappropriate. Would I clutch my pearls and cry and say, won't somebody think of the children who might have inhaled a little vape? Hey, Tristan Snell, if vape can cause that to an unborn fetus, you better write into Beetlejuice. Cancel the vaping in the show. You don't want whatever. And for the people clutching their pearls saying it was an evening show of a show that is not for kids in the first place. So you're all, not you, Designation 5, all the liberal, Democrat, blue check, they don't even believe in their own outrage. It's just theatrical. It's just performative political bullshit. Okay. I feel better. Do you feel better? All right. The show. We've got one hell of a show tonight, and I've got some more stuff in the backdrop until Barnes gets here. But standard rules, standard disclaimers. For those of you, I should have checked to make sure that we're live everywhere. Are we currently live on Rumble? We are. Are we currently live on vivabarneslaw.locals.com? We are. Standard disclaimers. No medical advice, no election fortification, no legal advice. Let me just make sure that I did in fact check off this video contains a paid promotion so that I can, make sure that I'm sure I did because this does contain a paid promotion. If it doesn't, I'm going to show it right now. Live, go into here. Let me make sure that I checked off that box in the show more contains paid promotion. I checked it off. There you go. So you might have seen that little box because it contains a paid promotion. It's going to contain one paid promotion and my own self-promotion. Shameless as it is. Let's start with the paid promotion. And it's not just a paid promotion. It's a product that I actually use and that I actually like. Field of Greens. Powdered greens, everybody. I have been eating far too many fruits, not vegetables. And I'll explain why that's a problem later because I'm totally neurotic and possibly unhealthily obsessed with caloric intake. You are supposed to have between 5 and 7 servings of raw fruits and vegetables daily. Why? Because it's got your roughage, it's got fibers, it's got stuff that keeps you clean, regular, it contains antioxidants, super nutrients, all that jazz. Most people do not have between 5 and 7 servings of fruits and vegetables. Most people have 1 serving of fruits and vegetables, unless you consider that shriveled up nasty lettuce that they get on their disgusting McDonald's burgers. When I travel, it's especially difficult. Field of Greens is not a supplement and it's not an extract. It is a desiccated, pulverized green. It's food, which is why it's USDA organic, made in America. 1 spoonful twice a day. Each spoonful contains 1 servings of fruits and vegetables. And it tastes good. Looks like swamp water, but it tastes good. And the reason why it looks like swamp water is rich in nutrients. That's where the life. Fish go to spawn, frogs go to get born. And when you consume 1 spoonful of this twice a day, you're getting 1 serving of fruits and vegetables twice a day. It's better than not getting it, and most people do not get enough, and it's also better than the unhealthy habits that most people have. Go to fieldofgreens.com. It brings you to Brickhouse Nutrition. Promo code VIVA for 15% off your first order. The shameless self-promotion, and I shall be using them later this evening. It came in the mail. My wanted for president mugshot shot glass, and my wanted for president mugshot coffee mug. You can procure your own at vivafry.com, where we have that merch and politically neutral merch if you want to go there. All right, now we have some time. Speaking of, Lauren Boebert can bring a little youthful reverence to DC. What's the opposite of youthful irreverence? Nancy Pelosi. I feel like I'm turning into a bit of an asshole. It's like I make the joke that I've taken the red pill, and once upon a time I didn't want to share my opinions because I didn't want to upset people, because I know that there's going to be some people out there who are not going to agree with me. Why make enemies by sharing an opinion that is not going to convince the people who don't agree with you? Then I realized you made enemies by not sharing your opinion. So if I'm going to make enemies, I may as well make them for the right reason. Then I said, I'm not going to swear because I'm not into that dirty humor type stuff. Like Salty Cracker is more edgy in terms of humor than me. But I'm slowly broaching that line. The opposite of youthful irreverence is Nancy Pelosi. And people have also made the joke that there's one heck of an intertwining Boebert gate or boob gate in there, but I'm not going there. Shut up. Well, she was on MSNBC, Meet the Press. Meet the Fake Press is what they should call this. No, it's not. It's not. It's MSNBC. It's Sunday night show. The Sunday show with Jonathan Capehart. Listen to this hard-hitting investigative journalism, people. Listen to this. And by the way, listen to this. This is like superliminal, next level, fourth dimensional confession through projection. Listen one-on-one with Speaker Nancy Pelosi. Speaker Emerita. They give themselves such nice, fancy Latin names. Listen to the confession through projection rubbish coming out of Nancy Pelosi's mouth.
The former president of the United States, Donald Trump, on Meet the Press, says this, and I'm quoting you directly, him directly. Nancy Pelosi is responsible for January 6th. He is blaming you for the attack on the Capitol that he instigated. You're responsible.
What a, does everybody see that? Does everybody see what a, calm down. Let me just say this. Jonathan Capehart, they should call you Jonathan Scapegoat Hart. He's blaming you, Nancy Pelosi, for the insurrection that he caused. I mean, can you believe this is journalism when you are a propagandist, Pravda mouthpiece for the government. Jonathan Capehart, you suck, period.
For the attack on the Capitol that he instigated. Your response.
What's your response? Now that I've laid that out for you, now that I've set out half of your answer, Nancy Pelosi, now that I've told you where to go with this question, he did it. What's your response to him, to that accusation? And by the way, go back and watch my interview with Tarek Johnson, former lieutenant for the Capitol Police. I now agree with, a lot of people were saying Tarek Johnson was blaming Yogananda Pittman, who was the head of the Capitol Police, and he said it's all her fault. And a lot of people are rightly saying, if anybody thinks that Yogananda Pittman doesn't answer to Nancy Pelosi, but I am not, who am I to disagree with Tarek Johnson, who has 23 years experience on the Capitol Police Force? I know what I think, even if it's not exactly Tarek Johnson's position. I think the buck does actually kind of more stop with Nancy than Yogananda Pittman, but it's one of their faults. It sure as hell ain't Trump's fault, but he started it. So what do you have to say to that, Nancy?
The former occupant of the White House has always been about projection.
The former occupant of the White House. My goodness, if I were the swearing type, I would say, what the F are you talking about, you crazy old bee? You can't call him by his name? I mean, that's psychotic. It's psychotic. I'd say it's juvenile, but you're 80 plus years old and you know better. Like, she's in her second childhood now, I guess. So I won't call it juvenile. She's entered her second childhood. For those of you who don't know the expression, look it up. It's a good one. You're young and you piss and you crap your pants and you're spitting food all over the place and you're walking around like an idiot. And then you get to the prime of your life and then you get to your second childhood where you're pissing and crapping in your pants, spitting all over the place and walking around like an idiot. The former occupant of the White House, it's juvenile beyond second childhoods.
He knows he's responsible for that, so he projects it onto others. His instigation of an insurrection.
She's choking on her own bullshit is what's going on right here. Okay, so I'll let it go.
An assault on our Constitution the day we were supposed to approve and we did the.
Oh, you did, but I thought it was insurrection. I mean, can you imagine that? The insurrection delayed the certification by 6 hours. The unarmed, mostly peaceful, but slightly violent, unarmed insurrection to overthrow the government delayed the certification by 6 hours. Yeah.
Of the Electoral College, the results of the Electoral College, the assault on the Capitol building, the assault on the Constitution, the assault on our democracy. Shame on him. However, he always projects. Mm-hmm. Now he used
after projecting for about a minute, he's the one who projects. He assaulted the Constitution, not Nancy Pelosi and the rest of the government when they impeached him twice. He assaulted the Constitution, not that sham of a January 6th committee that spent 2 years promoting the most egregious propaganda lie ever. He's the one who assaulted the Constitution, not the DC courts that have locked up people for 2+ years in pretrial detention, then given them absolutely inhumane, unconstitutional sentences. He's the one who assaulted the Constitution.
Say, well, she turned down my troops. No, we begged him. Chuck Schumer and I begged him to send the troops again and again. His Secretary of the Army, McCarthy, another McCarthy, and acting Secretary of Defense just made it, there are too many obstacles, it's bureaucratic, it's this, we can't do it. They know their exposure, so they project.
And so he says
They know their exposure, so they project. As far as I understand from Tarek Johnson, former lieutenant who I interviewed on Tuesday. Yeah, Tuesday. I believe Nancy Pelosi had the authority to call in the National Guard, considering that they controlled D.C. But at the very least, Yogananda Pittman, the former chief, had that authority. But no. He understands his exposure, so he projects. Hashtag projection.
That interview, Nancy Pelosi turned down 10,000 soldiers.
Yeah, well, these Trumpites were attacking the Capitol, fighting the police, threatening my life and the life of the vice president. We're turning down the troops. I mean, there's a sickness here. There has to be an intervention, and that intervention has to be the election, which we have to win. And that's one of the reasons I'm running again to fight for our democracy, which is at stake if he's on the ballot.
The democracy is at stake if he is on the ballot. These are communists. Like I was late to get to the Nuremberg 2.0 trials because I said, look, I'll need to see a lot more evidence before I can jump onto that bandwagon. I'm there. People always said liberalism is a mental disorder. I remember hearing that growing up. I remember hearing more recently, Democrats are communists. His name on the ballot is a threat to democracy, so we need to keep his name off the ballot to preserve democracy. Sorry, I just got distracted by this. Viva too quiet, Nancy Pelosi too loud. Okay, well, no, and we're done with Pelosi. I think that's the equalization of, because I turned off the volume equalization. They're communists. They act like communists or fascists, whatever you want. Like communism and fascism, they're iterations of the same tyrannical mental disorder, which is we like the power, we want to keep the power, and we will do whatever the hell we can, not even within the limits of the law, to obtain and retain that power. His name on the ballot is a threat to democracy. Okay, super chats, everybody. YouTube takes 30% of these things. I don't even know why I'm hesitating. If you want to support the channel, this is one way to do it. You can do Rumble rants on Rumble, where Rumble ordinarily takes only 20% of the chats, and is taking 0% for the rest of this year. They're going to go back to doing that in 2024. So better for the creator on Rumble. Best way, vivabarneslaw.locals.com. $7 a month or $70 a year lump payment. And some people actually support with more than that. It's a wonderful community. Everyone's above average. I'm sorry, Viva, but I have lost hope for Canada. I have about lost hope for Canada. And I don't think invasion is practical. Now what? What Barnes says, hope for the best, plan for the worst. What do we got here? We got that. Hold on, I'll just do these here real. Change my mind. All thoughts lead to Rome. As well, Donald Trump is the Julius Caesar of our modern time, especially as the Senate tried to arrest him. Let's be honest here. She does have a nice pair of eyes. Yes, she does. And you can see them glowing in the infrared. Ian, thank you. Pasha Moyer, thanks for doing the promo before Barnes arrives. Who was running that infrared camera, and how did it become aimed at Boebert? Inquiring minds. I think it had the whole theater, and then they just zoomed in on that, which is why it lost a lot of the grain. Working now, but keep fighting. Dostalov Akmankari, thank you very much. What do we got here? How much CO2 does a tree take in a year? 35 to 48 kilos a year. How many trees does Canada have? Over 1 billion trees. We can sell carbon credits. All right, and we got I'm Not Your Buddy Guy. Said it herself. She's cold-blooded. Just a liar. Okay, Barnes is in the house. We're going to do one or two topics on YouTube and Rumble. Then we head over to Rumble, and then we end on Rumble at the end, and we have our exclusive after party on Local. So bringing in the Barnes. Sir, how goes the battle?
Good.
You might have to adjust your camera to satisfy my neuroses, and then I'm going to see if the audio... everyone in the chat, let me know if Barnes is way blown out, and I'll fix the audio, but it sounds good to me. Robert, okay, we've seen the book over your shoulder. You're looking dapper. How is everything?
Good. I got to fly out tonight to, in fact, I leave right after the show. Got to go up to Denver for a appellate court case. But yes, I've been a little preoccupied, but otherwise good.
Well, you know what you should do in Denver while you're there? Go see Beetlejuice. Okay. What time do you need to be out? We got
right at the end of the show is when I leave.
Perfect. Okay, so Robert, what do we have on the menu? Okay, tell us what we have on the menu, and we'll get started on YouTube, and then we'll go over to Rumble.
So yeah, we got a couple of bonus issues right off the top for YouTube. Missouri versus Biden at SCOTUS. There's been some misunderstanding about what's happening in that case. That's the big tech censorship, Biden administration censorship case. The New Mexico governor, as predicted, what happened with that gun order. Then our top 12 topics: Russell Brand, Me Too. James O'Keefe suing Maui. Paxton reaches verdict in the impeachment trials in Texas. The Whitner kidnapping, last of the kidnapping trials, reaches its verdict this past week. Multiple cases. Our top topic tonight will be topic number 5 on the agenda of the numbered topics. Once we're over on Rumble, which is all things related Trump. The severance in Georgia, the November trial date in Georgia, the motion to recuse, and a published decision concerning the D.C. judge's attempts to seize a congressman's cell phone. Hunter indicted, talking about people that are still being jailed for resisting COVID policies. School pronoun policies enjoined. Kids' rights to perverted books at libraries. Sex offenders' right to anonymity. Dollar General gets sued. The right to fish, related to tribal rights and other things. And then a few bonus topics, most likely exclusive at vivabarneslaw.locals.com. When are you entitled to your engagement ring back? When are you entitled to keep an engagement ring if no marriage takes place? I actually went to court in Massachusetts. And Logan Paul's getting sued again.
Robert, let me make sure. I'm going to talk now. I've hit the adjust volume on the mic, so it should be. Let's do mic check, Robert, and you talk now, and let's just see if it's good.
Check. I guess let people out. I have no idea, obviously.
It sounds fine to me. Like people say, listen to. I have it in. Okay.
When I listen to it, always sounds fine. When I watch it on other rebroadcasts.
Yeah.
So I think it's some people's home systems react differently to however it's getting broadcast.
It could be me. I know that I was clicking. It says turn up my mic. I demand it. Okay, I'm going to turn up the mic. I know that I was clicking on Friday. Hold on a second. Now I go. Take off the audio. I'm going to bring it up to 150 people. Here, I'm up. I'm up at 150 now. Okay, Viva is low. Now I should be better. Robert, what do we start with? We're going to do 2 subjects here and then go over to YouTube.
Missouri versus, just a couple of brief updates. Missouri versus Biden at SCOTUS. The Supreme Court didn't take the case. The Supreme Court didn't rule on the case.
But they did stay it until September 22nd while they decide if they're going to take it?
Correct. But the issue is called an administrative stay. Alito issued that to allow the rest of the court to decide whether the court will even take the case.
Okay.
So the Supreme Court hasn't yet taken the case. There's been no ruling on the merits. The administrative stay is not on the merits. Remember, the same Fifth Circuit that granted and approved the injunction initially granted an administrative stay throughout the whole pendency of the appeal. So whenever the government comes begging to courts to stop something from happening, they do it all the time. So it doesn't, a lot of people were reading into it. Supreme Court's going to take it. Oh, the Supreme Court's going to overturn it. That's overreacting to what is basically a procedural action.
It is. So, and the only thing right now is in deciding whether or not to take it, they're going to give the court time to brief themselves on it. Administrative stay to September 22nd, which means they're going to have a decision as to whether or not they take it by September 22nd, and under what modalities they might leave the injunction in force while they take it.
Exactly.
Okay, good.
The New Mexico, we predicted that crazy New Mexico governor's emergency order trying to ban guns or being able to carry them in certain ways was going to go nowhere in New Mexico. It was kind of a trial balloon. Ordinary people refused to do it. They went out in public protest carrying their guns. The sheriffs refused to enforce it. DAs refused to enforce it. Even the lefty attorney general said, I'm not going to enforce this. And then the federal court came in, thanks to Gun Owners of America, bringing suit and said, no, obviously this is unenforceable. So that lasted all of about 1 week.
But can they not? I mean, can she not, or should she not get impeached for this? Is that not warranting of impeachment to basically say, I unilaterally decide to disregard my oath and the Constitution itself because I think there's an emergency?
I don't know what New Mexico's standards are for impeachment, but it sure, I know that there are people contemplating bringing it. Now, Democrats control, to my knowledge, both parts of the state legislature in New Mexico, so it's probably not going to get anywhere. But the you never know. I mean, in Texas, Republicans were busy impeaching Republicans on no grounds. So surely Democrats could impeach a Democrat on good grounds, but time will tell.
Okay, Robert, it's not that I think there might be trolls. Is my mic low? Yes. Okay, so everybody in locals is saying it's low. I'm going to keep talking. Oh, sweet merciful. Everyone's making me sweat here. I don't know what happened. I didn't change anything. I'm going to go here and I'm going to blast it up. Anybody who knows, do I go and turn up the gain on my thing here? Like, you know what? Okay, I'm just going to go like this. Here. I don't know what I'm doing, and I'm going to blame the kids. Someone touched the settings. Let me go to local.
You are much louder now.
Mic is okay. Good. Okay, there we go. Jeez. Now look what you made me do. You made me sweat in my Viva Barnes Law University merch. Okay. Do we talk about Russell Brand here, or do we do it? Well, let's do it.
I think that we hop over to
okay, fine.
There was a fun little meme showing a parent that's had kids versus a parent that hasn't had kids. And the meme is that you see this middle-aged person walk by, see an alligator, freak out, and run away. That's the parent. That's the person who's not had kids. And then you see the middle-aged person that come up that has kids, sees the alligator, goes over, knocks the alligator, tells it to go back into the water. So I'm sure the kids were snaking around, messing around with the sound.
Okay, I'm gonna get your butts over to Rumble, and let's talk Russell Brand there. Holy crab apples. For those of you who don't know, come on over. Okay, ending on YouTube in 2,396 people migrates to the land of the free speech, Rumble. I'm actually going to coin that. Okay, ending on YouTube.